And the kids back.
Kids back, folks. I'd like to welcome everyone back to another great episode of Greek Bull Sitting in the China Shop, folks. Thanks for joining us on this Friday afternoon, folks. Before we begin this show, folks, I want to take the time, seriously, folks, I want to take the time to sincerely apologize to a fellow collector that's been instrumental in helping me put together my McCoy pottery collection. Yesterday, as I was trying to do my collectible show, I was trying to do it in one take, and I was so focused on doing it in one take, folks, that when I was welcoming all my fellow collectors, I forgot actually the most important collector that's been the most instrumental in my life in educating me about McCoy pottery, and that is none other than my good friend Mark Paul. So Mark Paul, I want to extend an apology, sincere apology to you for forgetting to mention you. Not only have you been a good friend, you and Peggy have been a good friend to me, but you've also taken the time to educate me about all the McCoy pottery and have encouraged me to chase the rare pieces of which I had no knowledge of. Okay, folks, so Mark, again, and for everyone out there that doesn't know Mark Paul, he has the largest pottery collection in the entire world, folks. Not just McCoy pottery, but everything under the sun, folks. Him and his family and his in-laws have been instrumental in putting out valuable information to all the low-level and high-level collectors in order for them to continue collecting these beautiful and awesome pieces. So Mark, again, I apologize for not mentioning your name yesterday, and I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for taking the time and helping me assemble my awesome collection. Okay, folks, let's get back to the show, folks. Put the game face back on. Let's go, folks. Okay, so I have another rare piece, folks, a one-of-a-kind that came out of a museum, folks. I actually ran into a fellow collector when I started collecting roughly 5 years ago, and he told me he was holding this piece, folks, and I really tried my best to negotiate this piece out of his collection, folks, and we just couldn't come to an agreeable number, folks, so talks broke off. And this is the thing about collecting, folks. Us collectors, folks, when we get into a certain genre of collecting, we like to do what we like to use tactics. And by tactics, I mean we try to bully other collectors in order to move them out of the way and try to have the lane all to ourselves. So when I got into this collecting genre, folks, the first collector I ran into was the boy out of Iowa, Indianola, Iowa, and that was Larry Lucas, folks. And when I met Larry and looked at his unbelievable collection, I was really intrigued. And at that point in time, I was about 8 months deep collecting on my own side of the fence. And when me and Larry got together and we finally met, we were having discussions on who was actually going to be the bully in this genre. So I was looking at Larry and I said to Larry, do you want to be the bully or do you want me to be the bully? And by bullying, I mean me selling my collection to Larry so his collection could go to the next level, or in turn, Larry bowing out and selling me his collection so he could move into a different genre of collecting, okay, folks? So at first, folks, Larry was the one that actually made a concerted effort to buy my collection because his collection was way ahead of and so vast ahead of my collection, folks, that I was willing to sell my part of the collection to Larry. But actually, God works in mysterious ways, folks, because Larry was blessed with his beautiful baby boy. Mona was pregnant with baby Max, and that's when Larry said to me, Theo, in life priorities change, and as a result of that, I got my boy coming, and I would really like it for you to have my collection, as now I gotta transfer the funds over to raising my son. So in short, folks, Larry sold me his collection, which took my collection out of the stratosphere, and today is known as the best collection outside of Europe, okay, folks? So moving on to this actual piece that I'm gonna reveal, I ran into a gentleman out of Belgium, and he had a collection that rivaled Larry's, folks. Very rare. Most of the pieces are one-of-a-kind pieces, folks. Just mind-blowing of what this guy was holding. And this piece that he was holding, folks, is at the top echelon of this collecting genre, folks, and I knew that if my collection was to stand side by side with all the boys in Europe and in the UK, especially in the UK, folks, that I had to get this piece into my collection. So the numbers broke off, folks. Years went by. We tried to get back together to negotiate the deal. It always fell apart. And I was patient, folks. I wasn't just throwing around stupid money, just trying to get things just for the sake of them being rare. I was able to stay focused, able to stay disciplined. And last month, I actually got the call. The gentleman said, just like we said, tactics, folks, he finally decided to bow out. He obviously saw that my collection was far more superior than his. Not to say that he didn't have a handful of rare, one-of-a-kind pieces, but overall, when we're talking about condition level, my collection was far superior than his. So he said to me, Theo, I'm going to bow out. I'm going to sell you my top pieces, starting with this one piece, folks. So he finally was able to gain some perspective, and he came down to a more realistic number of where my number was. I decided to come up a little to show my appreciation for giving me first dibs and allowing me to put this piece into my collection, because I obviously knew, folks, that if he didn't offer it to me first, somebody else would have purchased it. It's a one-of-a-kind. He actually acquired it out of a museum, folks, okay? And I've talked to Larry about this piece, folks, and Larry has been instrumental in helping me moving forward, helping me assemble this collection over the years, the last 5 years, folks. So I asked Larry, actually, how many of these pieces were actually in existence, and as far as Larry knew, he said there were 3, and one of the 3 was actually in a museum, folks. So when Larry told me this, folks, I knew that this second piece had to come into my collection, and then I would worry about finding that museum that's holding the last piece that would finally complete the piece to the puzzle to my collection, okay, folks? So without further ado, folks, I'm about to unveil the item. It actually initially came out of the museum. The gentleman negotiated out of the museum 15 years ago, folks. He held it all these years, folks. We negotiated, talks broke off, and we finally got the deal done this summer, folks. So without further ado, folks, I'd like to unveil the creme de la creme of collectible pieces that came out of Belgium. Here we go, folks. The Standing Jolly, folks. Yes, out of Belgium, came out of a museum. It's actually one of 4, folks. One of 4 in the world. The other one is in a museum, folks. And you know what, folks? I actually found out, did the legwork, and I found out where that museum was, folks. And you know what they told me, folks? I called them and I said, listen, it's the kid. They said, what kid? I said, listen, it's Billy the Kid.
You're crazy.
It's Billy the Kid in his prime. And I said to them, I want to buy that piece out of the museum. You know what they said to me, folks? They said to me, listen, kid, get lost. And I said to them, listen.
Good. About time someone told you off.
But listen, the kid, they don't call me Billy the Kid for nothing, folks. I have the ace up my sleeve. As we speak, folks, as we're speaking right now, folks, I actually have the architectural drawings to the museum. And we've decided we're going to go through the heating vents to get that museum piece. Straight jack moves, folks. We ain't playing here. I'm going to get that piece by hook or by crook. They're either going to take my money, or I'm going to go through the ventilation system. I'm going to get that piece. On this side, folks, are the other 2 pieces that complete this piece, folks, okay? So these pieces were already in my collection, folks. So without further ado, here we go, folks. The other 2 Standing Jollies, folks. Now I have 3 out of the 4.
Wow.
3 out of the 4, folks. I'm only missing 1.
I hear you.
And it's
now.
out of the museum.
Yes.
Now you know why I got the architectural drawings, folks. And that's why Billy the Kid. Billy the Kid, they call me, in his prime. And I'm going through the heating ventilation system. And I'm going to get that Standing Jolly, folks.
It's beautiful.
And I'm going to be holding 4 out of 4. Is this a beauty, folks? Up close, Gloria. Take a look at that baby.
Yeah, they're lovely.
Larry Lucas, I didn't tell you I got it, boy. But the kid in Canada, he did it. He negotiated the price down, and he got it. So join us back. And folks, even though I got the Holy Grail in the mechanical bank world, folks, we're not done, folks. Okay? We're coming back on the weekend. I got 2 more sweet pieces. Folks, when we're talking about cleaning up, out of Belgium. And no wine, folks. Because I forgot Mark Paul's name yesterday, we went back to the Agua.
Good for you.
Okay, folks? So join us back on our next episode where we're going to unveil 2 more one-of-a-kinds. Okay, folks? Join us back. Cheers from Canada.
Cheers. See, on a PS, you want to take them into the den to see the rest of them? Just
Next
a quick
episode
overview?
we'll take them to the den.
Okay.
Okay, folks?
Okay.
Join us back. Cheers.
Ciao, ciao.